Okay, boxing fans, welcome to a very special edition of the Outsiders Podcast. Clint Schweitzer and Noah Groniger sitting here with you as always, and today we're going to be talking about boxing with a true boxing legend,
Chuck Wepner.
Chuck Wepner, of course, the inspiration for the Rocky film. Sylvester Stallone was in attendance in Richfield, Ohio, 1975. Saw Chuck Wepner take Muhammad Ali, the champ of the world, the distance to the 15th round.
Possibly knocking him down in the 9th round?
I say absolutely he knocked Muhammad Ali down. Some people think it was a slip, but Chuck Wepner lands a punch to the heart of the champion of the world, sending him down.
You see him laying on the ground hurt. He doesn't get right back up, yelling, slip, slip!
No, and Muhammad Ali definitely would have done that if he would have slipped down. He was obviously hurt. Chuck Wepner, one of the most gutsy performances in sports history, almost pulled off a 40-1. He was a 40-1 underdog in this fight, almost pulled off the upset of the century. And also had many, other memorable fights against like Sonny Liston and George Foreman. So we're going to bring him on, talk about Rocky, Stallone, his, what he's up to now. And really, this is huge because everyone's seen the 30 for 30 film. Had a lot of impact, I think.
Yeah, we decided to get in contact with him after that. We flipped through our celebrity Rolodex, right to the W's. Chuck Wepner, give him a call.
Got him on the horn, and just like that, his lovely wife, Linda, put us in contact, and we were going to be able to nail him down today, guys. So very excited about that, especially when it comes to the fact that Stallone, who is, many of you know, Noah and I are humongous Sylvester Stallone fans. I have a tattoo of Rocky on my arm. I have the Italian Stallion logo tattooed on my arm. I'm a huge fan of Rocky
own the
movies.
movie Cobra.
You got me there.
Yep.
You got me there. I have stopped, or my mom will shoot. So
you might.
Yeah,
that's tough.
So
we are definitely huge Stallone fans.
We're huge Stallone fans. The Rocky movies, in fact, literally, they changed my life as a child watching them. So obviously, when I found out, in later years that Stallone had an inspiration for this, definitely looked into it. Even before the 30 for 30 film on Chuck Wepner, I looked into it, found out that this Chuck Wepner guy, this random guy from Bayonne, New Jersey, stepped in to fight the champ. Of course, he was a top 10 ranked contender at that point, but stepped in to fight Ali and almost beat him. So this is a big thing for us because we are such fans of the Rocky films, and I think that there's more outreach. There's more to this than just Rocky 1, which is obviously Muhammad Ali was Apollo Creed, or Apollo Creed was Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
it was pretty obvious. And the fact that Rocky knocks Apollo Creed down, just like Wepner knocked Ali down before the fight ended, I think that's another reason. And let's not forget Rocky versus Thunder Lips in Rocky 3. Guys, Chuck Wepner in 1976 fought Andre the Giant. So the similarities are unparalleled, really, when it comes to this. And, Wepner, I think, deserved to be paid for his role in this story.
Oh, definitely. Working during the day and training at night, that's just like him and his regular life. And Stallone brought that to the Rocky movies, taking that from Chuck Wepner's story and his life. So Wepner definitely deserved a little compensation for that. Well,
without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on. Let's bring on Chuck Wepner, the real Rocky.
Chuck Wepner is Rocky.
He says, Chuck, listen to me. If you don't knock him out or win this round big, you got no shot at all.
Ali just kept getting more and more infuriated. Chuck would not go down.
What if I told you millions watched a movie, but one man lived it?
All right, guys, joining us right now, the Bayonne Brawler. He is the subject of the ESPN 30 for 30 movie entitled The Real Rocky. Many memorable fights in his career against George Foreman, Sonny Liston, of course, Muhammad Ali. We're, of course, talking about boxing legend Chuck Wepner. Chuck, how you doing today, man? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, we're doing fine. Very good. We're still working, same job, 44 years, so I'm looking for allied liquors, me and my wife, and things are going great.
I was going to ask you about that because I was thinking about maybe getting a martini or something before the show started, and you could definitely help us with that. I know you guys are on the wine and spirit business now. Tell our fans about that and where they can find you.
Well, you don't have to tell your fans that you guys are out in Missouri, right?
Absolutely.
Out by the Breakers or
Kansas City.
Yeah, okay, the inner city. Okay, very good. Well, you guys are a little far away. We only deal with people in the state of New Jersey, but it's a nice job. We like it. We work for a great company, and like I say, I'm there 44 years in February this month, actually, and my wife is there going on 14 years. So we like what we do, and we do a pretty good job of it.
Well, Chuck, you are an absolute boxing legend. You were the recent subject of the film, the ESPN for 30 for 30 film, The Real Rocky. Before we get into any specifics, just give us, what your thoughts were on the film, and if you thought, you were depicted in the light that you wanted to be depicted in.
Well, I was thrilled, naturally. It's something that's in the works along with the movie, which will be coming out this year, too, called The Bleeder, with Liam Schreiber, Naomi Watts, Christina Hendricks, a couple other people. But the 30-30 series was done very well. It was done by a guy named Jeff Furazig, who's done a lot of stuff on me through the years. And I was very happy with it, especially with the publicity we got, because according to ESPN, it was the highest rated 30-30 show in the last 8 years. It was we got a 93, and the saying that went along with it was millions of people watched the movie, one man lived it. That was a real cool saying, and they said about 35 to 40 million people watched it that night. So naturally, I was very happy with it.
Well, let's go back to 1975. Of course, in Richfield, Ohio, you fought Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight championship of the world. Go back before that. Give us a little light as far as how that fight came about and what your thoughts were when this idea got presented to you. Were you just in awe and shock, or were you excited for the opportunity?
No, not at all. I had been ranked in the top 10 in the world for 40 straight months, along with Ali, Foreman, Liston, Terrell, a WBC former heavyweight champion of the world who I beat for the title in Atlantic City in 72. I was in there with a lot of top guys, Jerry Quarry, Norton, Bonavina, and that's when the top 10 in boxing, the heavyweight division, was great. Now it's, you got a couple of Russian guys who are pretty good fighters, but that's about it in the division. But like I said, I was ranked 8th in the world at the time, and Don King, we had taken on Don King as our promoter, and he knew my manager, Al Braveman, very well from the old days, and Don sent me out to Salt Lake City, Utah to fight a guy named Terrible Terry Hinkey, a big, they called him the Stormin' Mormon. He was 34-3 with 31 knockouts, and nobody wanted to fight him. And I was the North American heavyweight champion and the NABA heavyweight champion. So I went out to Salt Lake City, Utah, in the Salt Palace, and I defended my title, my NABA and North American title, and it was a 12-rounder. I knocked him out in the 11th round. I had him down 7 times, and I earned a shot at George Foreman, who was then the world champion. Anyway, 3.5 weeks later, Foreman fights Ali in Zaire, and everybody thought that Foreman was going to walk right through Muhammad Ali. And Ali shocked the world and knocked him out in the 8th round, and I thought I blew a shot at the title because I was supposed to be fighting Foreman, and now Ali was the champ. But Don King called me the day after the fight and said, I promised you a shot at the title. You're going to be fighting Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I shrugged it off and said, yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway, 3 months and a day later, I was home in my apartment watching Kojak with Telly Savalas, one of my favorite shows. And the phone rang about 11 o'clock. I said, God damn it, I never answered the phone when Telly Savalas is on. He was a dear friend of mine, a great show he had. And I said, but let me answer. I just had an inkling about something. I picked up the phone. It's my mother, and she's all excited. She says, Chuck, did you see the back of the news? I said, what, Mom? She says, Ali to defend against Wepner, March 24th in Richfield, Ohio, Cleveland Coliseum. Well, needless to say, Don King kept his word. I was a little shocked, but I ran right up to the local theater where they used to sell the newses in front of the theater, and I gripped the last 3. And sure enough, the whole back page, Ali to defend against Wepner, and the rest is history. I went away to camp for the first and only time in my career. That's the time I was a part-time fighter. I used to run in the morning and work during the day and train at night. And, well, you saw the movie, Rocky. And anyway, they, I got the title shot. I I was a 40-1 underdog and a 20-1 underdog not to go 5 rounds, and I went 15 with him, had him down, and Stallone was there down to his last few bucks. He got the inspiration for the movie, and the rest is history with that too. Rocky was born, and I was Rocky.
Yeah, as we lead into that, of course, Stallone getting that inspiration for the Rocky movie, and you knocking Muhammad Ali down in the 9th round. Of course, a lot of people went on to say he fell on your foot, but I think boxing purists like ourselves look at it and see that Muhammad Ali was obviously down and hurt. A guy that just falls down and slips on someone's foot doesn't remain down and hurt for very long. So, what was going through your head when you see the champs on the ground? I'd heard a story that you went over to your corner and said, "Hey, we got this. We might have this thing won."
No, I said to Al Braveman, I said, Al, stop the car. We're going to the bank with millionaires. And Al said to me, Chuck, you better turn around. He's getting up and he looks pissed off. I said, uh-oh. Anyway, he was, I hit him with a right hand under the heart. He was all balanced. And, if somebody steps on your foot, like they said 2 hours after the fight when they saw the film, you jump right up and say to the referee, hey, ref, he stepped on my foot, but he never. Ali took the 8 count, continues to fight, and we went another 6 rounds after that, and it was Drew Bundini Brown that came up with the story, and that thing was a bunch of baloney. But you know what? It just added a little more conjecture to the fight, and people were excited about it, and it was a great night for me. And here I am, 37 years later, doing an interview with you, and people are still talking about the fight.
We actually have a fan question from Bill Robinson, who grew up a boxing big-time fan, and he wants to know about your fight with George Foreman and the punch that broke a bone in your eye and sent that bone through your eyelid.
I'll tell you, it's a funny thing. We took the fight with George. He was up and coming, and he was going to be the next heavyweight champ, which he eventually did win. George was a hell of a fighter, but when I fought him, he was a wild, swinging young guy. He was actually a better fighter when he came back 10 years later because everything was close. He was throwing punches shorter and better and everything else. Anyway, with that fight, we were just going to try to go 4 or 5 rounds with him, tire him out, and catch up to him maybe in the later rounds. I saw that hook coming from here to Chicago, and I thought I was going to slip it, and I pulled away, and it just caught me right and slipped my eye wide open, and my eye bone, it hit with such force that my eye bone swelled from the inside and broke through the outside of my lid, and it was a terrible cut. For my manager, Al Braveman, who was considered to be the best cut man in the world at that time, to say, Chuck, I got to stop the fight at the end of the 3rd round. He said, I got to stop it, Chuck. He says, I can't do anything with it. And I was pissed off because, the punch really didn't hurt me. It just, I fought for 21 years, and I could take a good punch. I was never down around except for that 15th round with Ali, and I was pissed off at the time, but when I got downstairs and I looked in the mirror at the eye and the way it swelled up like almost like a baseball, and my eye bone came right through my eye, and it took 60-something stitches, 38 inside and 32 or 33 outside, and it was a bad cut. But what are you going to do? George went on to be a great fighter then. And anyway, he got upset by Ali that night, and I wound up getting a shot at Muhammad Ali, and the greatest thing could have happened to me because I got a shot at probably the greatest heavyweight that ever lived, and I won 15 rounds.
I want to ask you a little bit about Sylvester Stallone because all of our fans have seen the movie, seen the ESPN 30 for 30, and of course seen the Rocky films. It's very obvious what happened there as far as Stallone stealing your story. At what point do you think that there could have been fences mended between you and Stallone? I know he talked about having you in the sequel, Rocky 2. That never happened. At what point did you give up and say, okay, Stallone's obviously not going to give me credit for this, and there's going to have to be some action taken?
Well, he wrote a part into Rocky 2, Ching Webber. I was going to be his chief sparring partner. I have the script right here on my desk, and I've been offered a lot of money for it, and I'm not selling it yet. We'll see what happens. But, I sold almost everything else that I used in that fight, my robe, my trunks, my gloves, even my protective cup. I sold Field, if you can believe it. I had 30 women bidding on it. 30 women. And I just said, well, let's see the highest bidder. They finally bid $160,000, and I sold it.
Wow.
But that's a joke. Are you kidding me? My wife is sitting right behind me. She's going to laugh at it tonight. My wife, Linda.
I'm the only one that's going to hold his cup.
Yeah.
That was gold.
Yeah.
That was gold. Wow.
Oh, my wife Linda she's so great, so much fun, and she jokes as much about this stuff as I do, but it's been a great run, and I'm very happy with the way things turned out. The only thing that I'm not happy with is my dear friend Muhammad Ali being sick. He's so sick. We were out there last February. They flew me, Foreman, Norton, Spinks, all the guys who fought him, Pacquiao. They had some of the greatest fighters, Boom Boom Mancini, and we all flew out to Las Vegas to Muhammad Ali's 70th birthday party at the MGM Grand, and we had a great time. We got to see the champ, and I'm just sad that he's not feeling as great as he used to, and. But Lonnie takes very good care of him, his wife Lonnie, and the girls were all there, all his daughters, all beautiful seven. I call them, the magnificent seven. I call them the beautiful seven.
Sure.
all his daughters are beautiful, and he had a great time. We had Puff Daddy there. We had De Niro, Stallone. Everybody was there. We had Kiss. You had the guys in the Rolling Stones. I mean, it was the greatest celebrity party that there ever was, and Muhammad Ali was the hero that night, just like he's always been. And as you can tell by the way I'm talking about him, I love the guy. He's been great to me, just like Stallone. People think because I took Stallone to court, like I said to Sly later on, it's just business. It was just business. You asked me at what time I decided to institute a suit against him. Well, actually, it was the movie Copland. They were filming at Weehawken, and Ali was told about it. He refused to part in it, and they wanted. But everybody was over to part in the movie except me, and I'm from New Jersey. They had filming a movie in Weehawken, and even though Stallone had written in a part in Rocky II for me, Ching Weber, I read for the part. He brought me to Philly. I read for the part, and I just didn't do good. I'm not an actor, I understand that, but this movie Copland right here in New Jersey, and you don't offer me a part in it, any kind of a part. So my wife suggested, hey, you know what? Why don't we go after this guy? And we went after him, and it was a no-brainer. Everybody knew that he wrote the movie about me, and there were so many different scenes in the movies to follow that were depicted about the same things I did in my life, running up the steps, fighting Thunderlips. That was me with what you call it?
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant fought him, but getting thrown out of the ring was what's it called? The former heavyweight wrestling champion. No, Linda.
Hulk Hogan.
Getting thrown out of the ring in the movie.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Hulkster.
You know what? You got to interview me here at 7. I've been working since 7:15 this morning with the job, So,
sure, no problem.
There's so many scenes in the movie, and so it was like it was an easy one. When we settled out of court, I didn't want to belabor the point over it. So long, we made a settlement, and everything was amicable. And I love the guy. I think he's great in his movies. I think he's done a lot for me. Writing a movie and me becoming Rocky and everything else. And I have no ill feelings to Sylvester Stallone at all. I watched him the other night on the David Letterman show again. And he's terrific.
Well, that's great to hear, and I tell you what, we were just huge fans of yours, huge fans of the film about you, huge fan of the Rocky movies as well. But I'll tell you what, Chuck, I know you don't do this kind of thing often. We just cannot thank you enough for coming on and talking about your career with us tonight, and it really means a lot to us. And let's stay in touch, maybe catch up again down the road sometime, my man.
All right, Clinton, you and Noah have a good night, and thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks a lot. You tell Linda thanks a lot for keeping in touch with us, and we'll give you all the best, my man. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Good night, son.
Take care.
Wow, really great to hear from Chuck Wepner. What a gentleman. Called us by name at the end. You can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, we told him our names right at the very beginning, and at the end of 15 minutes, this man remembered our names. Thank you, Clinton Noah. That was great to hear.
And he took us back into to all the memorable moments. His career was extremely memorable, had some great fights, and we went through all of it. And, I can't believe that here we were talking to Chuck Wepner, a man that fought and nearly won the most coveted title, heavyweight title in all of sports. So
that and a great fan question from Bill Robinson wanting to know a little bit more about Chuck Wepner's thoughts going into that George Foreman fight and what his thoughts were after the big punch that barely clipped Chuck Wepner's eye, broke a bone in his eye, and sent the bone through the top of the eyelid.
Chuck kind of snickered when you asked that question. I wonder if he doesn't want some of Bill right now after that.
Well, when I went over to Bill's house today, he was working out in the basement, so he's getting ready for it.
Maybe so. Maybe that's our next one to think about. So, and if Stallone ever makes a movie about fighting a random fan, then we'll know it came from that as well. So, but anyway, can't
and
think
Bill's
of enough.
going to be suing Stallone, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was extremely memorable. We like to bring our fans, different variety of things. We talk a lot of football, a lot of college basketball, a lot of mainstream sports. But this, in a world of boxing that has kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit, it's great to go back to the golden era of boxing, the 70s and 80s, and really get in and talk to, just a legend in the sport. He's a legend. Chuck Wepner's a legend. He fought Andre the Giant. I mean, I can't imagine how that went.
He fought Sonny Liston. We didn't really touch on that. We'll definitely touch on that next time. We'll have him on again. And you always got to stay tuned to the Outsiders podcast. I mean, we do a lot of football, college basketball, college football, but we've had Peter Engel on, the creator of Saved by the Bell. We've had two former WCW wrestlers, now Chuck Wepner. So always stay tuned for special guest appearances.
Yeah, that's what we like to bring to you guys, and we hope you enjoyed us talking to Chuck Wepner as much as we enjoyed talking to him, because that was a big moment for us. So thanks again. Make sure you find us on all of our social networks, Facebook and Twitter. Just search for the Outsiders Podcast. It's easy.
Make sure if we let you know that there's going to be a special guest on, I mean, there's no reason that you shouldn't ask a question and be part of the show. So comment below when we let you know who's going to be on, ask questions, and we'll get those out to the person.
Not only that, we'll give your name along with it. So that's always important. We're gonna say who sent the question from our Facebook pages or our Twitter. So always hit us up on that, and you can check out all of our archived shows at www.theoutsiderspodcast.weebly.com. All of that stuff's in there for you. Some of our old stuff.
Or just go to YouTube and type in The Outsiders Podcast. It's all right there.
That's pretty easy, guys. So hey, we appreciate it. Appreciate it, Chuck Wepner, once again. Great stuff.
Great man. Thank you so much for the interview, Chuck.